Hey everyone, welcome to Grain Therapy, the woodworking podcast where we discuss our passions, methods, and personal growth as we build our woodworking businesses. The past few episodes have been a roller coaster of excitement. Today we sit back and discuss the jump to full-time itself. I really have no idea when it will happen for me, so I've realized I need to make the most out of my current situation. Bryan also reflects on his jump to full-time woodworking and how we can both move forward with our future business goals. This podcast can be found anywhere you like to listen. If you find value in it, please leave us a comment or review. In addition to following this podcast, find us at Bossman's Boutique and at Whiskey Woodshop to see our projects start to finish. So sit back and watch, listen while you work, or put us on in the background. Either way, we hope you enjoy. Okay. Big question.
Yeah,
What do you got?
it's the same thing that I have been making, except I subbed instead of Bacardi Limon. I've got spiced rum in here,
So
and
you can just put anything in that. That's
I
like
like it a lot less, but it's still pretty good.
we're used out of Bacardi Limon.
We're out.
Yeah. Had too many of these podcasts and you ran out of Bacardi.
I actually go through my alcohol now. Yeah.
There you go. Today I've got a Brandy Daisy, which I haven't had in I made them back in college. We had this cocktail book, my roommate and I, and we went and made every single one. And this one is like pure sugar and like it's really tart, and so it's just brandy, lemon juice, and grenadine. So it's just,
wow, yeah, that's
it's
like
brandy, yeah. And there's a lot of brandy in there. But it was just change of pace. I wasn't feeling whiskey today. So just wanted something really sweet and tart. So yeah,
sweet. Awesome. How's your week?
it was good. It was good. Been working in the shop on the built-in that I got to install on Saturday. And so this was paint week. Well, yesterday was the start of paint week. And so my shop hours on Monday are 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it's always really hard to get out there at that time because you just
on Monday. Yeah.
You're already relaxing. Like I relax and I have dinner and watch some TV with my wife, and then I'm like, okay, here we go. So I started priming yesterday, and normally it's 8 to 10, and I didn't make it back inside until about just after midnight. So
thinking about maybe switching up your time period on Monday, or just when you got certain things now you know.
No, it was just the paint just went terribly.
Yeah.
And not even that it went fine, but it just took so long, and I needed to get a whole coat done because I got to get this thing delivered. So it's like, I don't know. I wasn't going to spray it. I was just going to brush it.
Okay. Yeah.
And roll it.
So it takes
a while. Then at the last minute, somebody's like, oh, are you going to spray it or roll it? And then I was like, well, spraying it is probably going to have a smoother finish, but it's going to be in a closet and they're not going to see it. And I think it might be worse because when I'm trying to spray up in a cubby, like trying to get into the far corners, it aerates so much because you're so far from the surface. Like you're not the good 6 to 8 inches or whatever, because you can't get the nozzle in there because you have the actual sprayer mechanism blocking you. Right. So then it kind of I don't know if it's just more airtime, it speckles out a little more. So then I was not liking the look of that, and it wasn't going on fast. And so I tried to dilute it a little more, and then it wasn't going on right. So I said, screw it to the spraying, and I sprayed all the face frame, and then I switched to brushing and rolling. And if I just go slow there, it's going to look good. It's going to look good. So yeah. So that was part of the reason it took so long. It's because I shifted partway through.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on pre-finishing things before you assemble it?
Yeah. In this case, I don't think I would have been able to, just because they're all these shelves are dado shelves. I have dados cut into this plywood, and then they're all glued in place. And so if I tried to pre-paint any of those parts, it would have just been a mess too.
Okay.
And also I'm not great at spraying. I don't have a great sprayer, and I'm not great at it in general. I try to rush it. So, yeah, I was pretty pissed about this whole painting situation, and I got in bed last night at 12:15, and I just said out loud, I go, I'm never painting a damn thing again. So I will be painting the rest of this week, obviously, to finish this piece. But like, and the next little project I have to work on is also painted, but that's really small. But
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing, I'm not doing these built-ins anymore. And that's part of my whole mindset shift now is now that I've gotten out of my business debt and everything, and I've kind of leveled off, I'm only taking furniture that I want to make now. Like I'm not doing it just to catch back up now.
But was doing a paint job part of what helps you determine that that's not what you want, right? Like it does.
Oh
do
yeah.
that also.
And I already knew that too, which sucks.
Sure. Yeah.
But it had
So
been
it
a year
doesn't
and a
help.
half since I did it, and then you're like, I mean, I could do that.
You do that again quick.
Yeah, no, I'm so done. So
Well, you're almost done with that one, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Saturday, a few more days. So I got to do like 2 to 3 coats of the real paint. It'll go on thicker, obviously, because I'm brushing and rolling. So I think 2 will suffice, but we'll see how 2 ends up. And worst case, I'll do 3. I don't like, worst nightmare would be that they go, oh, what's with this paint job? And obviously, I don't think they're going to say that because they're not painters or anything, right? So it's just, I would have rather it been sprayed. It would have looked nicer. It would have done this, but this is kind of like my last built-in. Congrats. Unless I buy a house and I need one in my own house someday.
That's different.
Nope. That's different.
Still no.
I will see. I could maybe do it for myself again, but and I could go slower and stuff, but yeah.
Well, that's a tough one. Yeah. When it goes exactly the way you don't want it to, basically.
And I knew it would happen like this too. So it's kind of just the way it is. And the more depressing thing is I've got this new spreadsheet I'm tracking all my quotes with. And so I've got like the price loaded in, the materials, and then I just add hours as I do them. So I'm getting better about my shop hours. And I track them the next day. So like I just enter them into the spreadsheet the next morning. I did 3 hours on that project, right? And then I have it calculate an hourly rate, but in the beginning of the project, there's like 4 hours. So it looks like I'm making a ton. And I try not to look at it because it's not real yet. But right now I'm getting really close to the end. So every time I add hours, that rate drops. And I'm like, oh, everything's going down. And it's fine. Like I think I'm still making enough for me to be happy I'm doing it. But yeah, the business isn't going to be a cabinet built-in business, like a cabinetry thing. That's not going to be happening. So
yeah, no, that's funny that you say you're watching the actual rate go down because you're updating your hours. I've got a spreadsheet that was doing that, and I had to just like hide that column and promise myself that I'm only going to look at it once the job's done. But
that's a better way to do that.
Yep. I feel I had to like, that was a tough one for me to be like, this shouldn't matter. No, I'm actually going to hide the column now.
Well, because you're like, I can ignore it. I'm logical and I can understand, hey, this is part of it. No, you see that number drop. You're like, why am I even doing this? Like it was $80 an hour a couple of days ago. And now it's not $80 an hour anymore. Like, so,
yeah. Even though it's compared to not a real number. Yeah. It's still funny. You'll still like go through the little dance. It reminds me of Chatter. Like I finished that book, by the way.
There you go. I haven't even finished it.
Oh, it was good. Solid stuff.
Sweet. I think I've got like an hour left.
Okay.
I think in the end, it gets into like a lot of case study stuff. Like I think it's a lot of examples. And then I kind of zone out because I'm doing something else. And then I forget to listen if it's not like a takeaway. So, and I bounce books all the time. So I'll eventually circle back and finish it. But
yeah.
Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Have you read, I got a second suggestion if you want one.
Yeah.
Have you read Handmade or listened to? I think it's called Handmade by Greg. What's his name? I would really like to give a shout out, an official shout out, but
let's look it up real quick.
It's here on Amazon. And it's pretty solid. It's kind of like the creative drive behind making all this stuff.
Gary Rogowski?
Gary, not Greg. Greg is not the right name. So it's Gary Rogowski. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Creative focus in the age of distraction. So it's It's he tells stories about like hiking and stuff in it too. It's not just about like I was cutting dovetails, but
Mm-hmm.
um it's got some good content for like inspiration to get you wanting to go in the shop. So I'd give that one a try if you're looking for
Yeah.
another one. And it applies directly to what we do compared to some of the other books.
Right. Yeah. That's probably a good one,
Yeah.
especially right in the middle of my hiatus from social media. It seems like.
I'm on an accidental one too. So
Yeah, it happens.
yeah.
It's probably good for us right now.
hmm have you gotten your footage back from your table yet?
I just got the first notice from them. They're looking for the logo. They said it
Cool.
must be getting close. By the end of the week, I think I'll have it. And,
Awesome. That's
yeah,
exciting. And
looking
then you'll be
forward to.
posting that stuff for a little while and riding
Yeah,
high on those reactions. Yeah.
I'm actually probably gonna save them for a little bit and then
Mm,
try to give some updates about what's going on because I haven't done that at all, and
yeah.
then just about moving chops, and then try to get some of the engagement rolling, and then I'll do the big one. See if it makes a
That makes
difference
sense.
or not.
Well, yeah, and then it kind of closes it out too. If you're going to talk any more about the table, then the final product can be at the end.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna make the little pause worth it for
mhm.
people if they're actually like waiting on the other edge of their seat, which is probably not a real thing that's happening, but
Some people are. Some people
it might
are. You
be.
still setting up at the shop every day?
Yeah, so I've been cleaning my current one, and then we're waiting on electricity, so that we're a few
Ah,
weeks behind. So we've got set up a dust collector, like one of the big Oneida ones, and then we know where we're gonna get the spiral pipe because it's a 12-inch
mhm.
diameter on the intake on that thing. It's huge.
That's
Um,
insanity. Shove your head through there.
electricity hopefully happens this week, and then we'll be able to start placing machines and like really like figuring out what ducting do we need and finalize the layout because we've got some
Mm.
equipment that was a lot bigger in reality than when we were looking at it online. So we've got to
Oh,
move things around and make sure
sure.
it all fits.
You're gonna be a little cramped in there, actually, even with all that space, huh?
I, I think not cramped. Like it's going to be not quite like what I'm used to. It's going to be a little more spread out than what I'm used to, but not like wide open
Sure,
spaces.
sure.
Yeah,
Well, then there'll be stacks of wood that just show up places because Nate will run out of space again, and then
exactly right. Yeah.
he'll have to put them. Everybody go to Iverson and make sure he runs out of wood, so that way Bryan has shop space.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, would
That'd
you
be great.
post that kind of stuff on your story at all? Like setting up a dust collector in the new shop, just like a video of I don't know. Is that content you like?
I'm good with it. Nate and I still haven't come to an agreement on like what stuff,
Oh,
like even like sharing that part of his space.
hmm
And so we gotta figure out some of those things. And I'm just right now respecting that and just kind of
hmm
um, yeah, he's made a few references to being worried about some things, and so I'm just kind of
sure.
like it's all off the table until we establish what that really means.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I'll definitely like I'll do a picture of just the dust collector and just
hmm
say here's what we got going on, and um, yeah, but so it's fun. It's like we're hurry up and waiting right now,
Yeah.
and then my weeks kind of felt like I got exactly what I wanted because now it's like time to sit down and design because we're waiting for the electricity. All I have to do is work on is virtual or theoretical, and then I just kind of had like a panic. Oh crap! Like that's all I have to work on, and so I've been
hmm
it's been an interesting week, but good because it's just like I'm closing a new like it's a big milestone, and I think it's helping me take the time to realize that what it is like getting this new shop is a huge step for my business in
hmm
a lot of different ways, and it's going to be intangible the difference it makes, and so I'm just been very grateful this week. So that's been my
That's
week.
awesome. That's awesome. So the virtual stuff you're working on, are you struggling to do it too? Like now that are you itching to get in the shop now that you're not allowed to get in the shop? And then before you were itching to do the virtual stuff because you weren't allowed to do the virtual stuff, you had to get that table done?
There's a little bit of that going on,
Okay.
but it's actually been I've been able to get through that initial just like I kind of have a freeze moment sometimes when I'm like starting to feel the pressures or the inner critics getting loud or whatever. But this time it was
Mhm.
pretty quick to just be like, No, I'm designing stuff for my house, so like this is going to be super fun, and
Yeah.
it actually like kicked me into gear a lot faster than my normal routine takes. So yeah, I've been designing a lot and just like super excited, and
There you
still
go.
nothing worth like sharing out loud or out in reality yet,
Mhm.
but still, yeah, there's stuff coming that is just gonna feel like I'm rolling downhill a little bit. Like I can already tell.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling when things just start to kind of click and you just get in a groove.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't share what you're designing yet.
Yeah.
I'm going with bookshelf still. I think that's the bet I'm going to keep.
It's still very
Yep.
high. Yep.
Still number one. Okay.
Yep.
Very high is not number one, folks. It might have
It's
changed since last week, but
it's gonna be the first one.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. We all
Yeah.
knew it. It's okay. Yeah.
But the
Sweet.
one feature, I'll share one thing about it. So I've been I really want it to have something that has if you've seen like a book triangle, like a bookshelf triangle, where
Yeah.
you have the book open and it rests on it.
Yep.
It's
As
gonna
long
have
as you're
something.
actively reading, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be there's gonna be something like that where instead of just using a bookmark, I can just put it up there because
Mhm.
I'm a pacer. I walk around my house and just kind of like when I don't know what to do myself, that's when I usually pick up a book. So if it's already open, just grab it. I think I'm gonna
So you'll
get a lot
walk
more
around
reading.
and read?
Yeah,
Wow. I
yeah.
I've never done that. I got to tell you. I don't think I have the coordination to do that
I think
and think about both.
it's just a anxious energy outlet.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
So then you'll have like a book catch almost to kind of hold your spot and yeah,
yeah,
something incorporating that idea.
yeah. So
Sweet.
that's kind of the focus point of it, and then I'll do some plans because I think it's going to be something way different than, and then yeah, see what happens as I venture down that path.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I haven't had a lot of design time just because I'm spending all my time painting,
Yeah.
painting. And then I'm going to be turning all those tap handles too. So it's like all my time's accounted for the next month, which is a little depressing
Yeah.
because I'm like, I just want to go to the next project. Right. But
Hmm.
I'm, it's almost like just kind of mind, I can just chill out through the rest of the new year here and just get some work done. And then think about what to do next, you know. So
Hmm.
I've kind of calmed down after the last couple weeks of like building an empire in my mind on all these like this furniture company I'm trying to make, but like I was just so worried about going the wrong direction by just sticking my path and not actually planning and getting like where do I actually want to be? If I'm going to leave a career, I need a real career to go to, like in my own mind. I need something like, and I know I can't be alone. We talked about that. Like that's like not okay for me is to not work with anybody. Like I need somebody.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I could do alone for a little while, but not extended periods of time. So, um, yeah, I've kind of just chilled out and realized that like the fact that I have a full-time job and career that is separate isn't necessarily detrimental to the business. It's just limiting the amount of time I can do there. So what I'm gonna focus on into the next year and maybe 2 and 3 is just quality and only making what the future business that I would want to make. Right. So
Yeah.
no more of these built-ins. I'll do these tap handles and I'll probably do another order or two because I do feel bad that they invested in me with the tooling in order to get the lathe to get the order with the idea of a second order as well. Like their
Yeah.
plan is to order again maybe in the summer. So
Yeah.
like
Okay. I see.
I'm willing to keep doing those jobs and like just get more time on the lathe. And yeah, they're going to be
Yeah.
a little boring doing 100 at a time or whatever, but like they spent a lot of money just setting me up to get this done and I'm fine making more of these and it's good
Yeah.
money too. So
Yeah.
like
That makes
I
sense.
can keep rolling on it and
Hmm.
it's not a waste of my time. It's just time away from like real furniture, but that's okay too. It's still a good relationship as long as they can get the checks on time. No offense. So yeah, I've just like chilled out. It's like I haven't focused on optimizing the fact that I am in a career and I have pay and I also have a passion on the side. I've just focused on, oh, this is hindering my ability to do my business. But it's like, because I have a steady paycheck and on a reasonable steady paycheck, I can just rely on that and I can take more risks in the business and have less errors, you know? So like
Mm.
the fact that I was able to make that Manhattan cabinet and not sell it, make it for nobody, like that's okay. Like I got my money back and I got practice doing design. Somebody has it now. I got a lot of media out of it. I posted it way too much. That's all people see on my page. You know, like so I'm just gonna take that into the next year and realize that like I don't need to turn and burn money and projects really fast. Where like all of last year I was just focused on getting like quantity through the and I was still trying to be quality. But
Mhm.
like at the end of the day, I like making furniture and I don't want to have to be doing these built-ins just to fund my business, right? So now that I've
Mhm.
kind of leveled out of this initial investment with like the shop renovations and everything I was doing to try to look
Mhm.
legit, I
Mhm.
can now just like take the renovations and the tools that I've acquired and now paid off and just chill and make some furniture and I'm still gonna try to keep the same pace. Like I'm still gonna push, but
Mhm.
it's okay if there's a month where I don't have an order because I have a paycheck, right? So it's just I'm gonna try to embrace the fact that I have this safety and take
Mhm.
better design and other maybe business risks that don't really make sense for like a full time business where I need that for full pay all the time. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think the focus is also going to be to eliminate the roadblocks that make me not want to leave my career, right? So I'll probably be in here another. If you would have asked me last week, I would have said I can't make it through the rest of the year, like through
Mhm.
2024. Um, like I'll be out by then. I think I might have even said that last week, which
Mhm.
just shows how much I've been like on this roller coaster of like trying to
And
figure this out.
mm.
Um, but I think if I can, I'm even going to start to pay myself this year a little bit, with the sole purpose of paying off my truck.
Mm.
I have a car payment, right?
Mhm.
So, and that in my head is one of the main roadblocks of me leaving my job is because I have a car payment and I have a house payment and I have a so like if I can eliminate some debt, have a that in the future, then in a couple years when if I maybe do have enough orders to justify leaving, I have less roadblocks, right? So I'm going to use the job that I have to take care of these roadblocks now, and then I'll hopefully be surprised when I'm like, oh wow, I have enough orders and I'm at a more comfortable place, and I feel like I've just been pushing too hard and like trying to force reality to happen or
What
force the
what
future.
has made you feel that way? What's like you've just been like I have sensed like over the last like couple episodes there's been like and I think we're both like this just there's something building like
Mhm.
we're both about to tackle something that's like a anxious point or a scary part of owning a business, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that just happens all the time where like you're at least this is my experience like it's always going to happen where you're going to kind of like stop have enough time to like look around and see what things how they are and like
Mhm.
realize there's a weak link over here and I'm going to
Sure.
like anxiously like go try to make that better, right? It kind of feels like that's what's happening all the time and then it gets to a point where you're like, all right, I meet the threshold, now I can step away from that weak link and then look again at all of the
Mm,
things that pertain to my business and kind of decide which one to work on. And so I think I've been through a lot of those, and I'm
mhm.
finally at the one I feel like I'm at a phase where it's like, all right, they're all fine. Like
Yeah,
none of
it's
them are
going
gonna
okay.
break, but none of I'm not like proud of any like particular one of those links.
Sure.
But I just need to like now just like focus where my time is, and I'd say I'm wishing right now hearing you speak about what your new plan is and just like wishing that maybe I would have been a little more patient to like jump into it full time and like get most of those links where they're good and they're not going to break.
Sure.
Um, but at the same time, I want to acknowledge like whatever it is that's like bubbling up and making you feel like you want to get into it. Like that's an important feeling that needs to be like heavily monitored and looked at and like appreciated, right? And so that's a
Sure.
thing that I wish I would have done more as I was jumping into it full time. But at the same time, like I felt without exploring it enough or even having the skills to explore it enough, right?
Hmm.
Of being able to look at myself and say, you know, this is really painful to be here at my regular 9 to 5 and like not be doing the thing that I wish I was. But at the same time, like really thankful that I did that to like push myself. I just wish I had
Sure.
known more about how I was pushing myself. And
Okay.
for me, it was I was pushing myself blindly to try to just like let's just jump in like we're never going to be ready type attitude. And I think
Yeah.
that can be true, but at the same time, just yeah, take your time. Like you said, you said you can just like relax and sit back and like play around. Do that as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't comprehended the freedom that I have because I have this job and, like,
Mhm.
I'm doing all this stuff when other people are sitting on their ass, like, and that's I live off that stuff, like,
Mhm.
I will always be doing that. Like, I'm addicted to working that hard because it feels so good when you're
Yeah,
done and you're like, "I
when
just
it's
did that," and
when it's
you
something that feels
yeah.
like it matters a lot to you and like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's not like
exactly.
I used to play video games a lot, and some people play video games and no problem, obviously, like, go have fun, but, like, at one point, I forget who it was, maybe my dad or somebody was like, "So what happens when you log off? Like, where does that go?" And
Hmm.
I'm just like, "Oh, it's just data on a memory card." Yeah, that sucks. Like, I would just pu like,
Yeah.
I swallowed that, and then it was like so in college, I stopped playing, and a bunch of
Okay.
my friends were still playing, and I'm like, "You just spent" now, it makes a ton of sense when people are, like, playing on Discord or whatever and, like, talking with
Yeah.
their friends, and that's community,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the way I wasn't really playing with community back when I was playing, I was just playing for fun, like, on my
Yeah.
own. So, like, I get when people do that, but it's just not my thing anymore because that, like, broke me. I'm like, "Okay, none of that matters." So, um, that's just it.
I've gone through the same thing. Just
Yeah,
like there's
yeah,
been times where my wife and I will like we still play a lot of video games and so
yeah,
like we'll try as the best we can. Sorry if you listen to this page, but she it's a lot harder for her to get engaged and like watch me play a game. But when she'll play like Stardew Valley or something like that, there's a few games where I just like love to tune in and like watch every decision she makes and just silently like gives me a peek into her world a little bit
sure.
and just like her motivations.
Well, that's cool
Um,
because that's a joint thing, right?
it is. I'm not really
Shared.
participating, but yeah,
Yeah,
we're observing it together. Um, but it's super funny. What was I gonna say? This story is not going to mean anything here. Oh, the games that I really enjoy, like I enjoy the most, and see, she seems to be enjoying the most, are games centered around like how this is how you would go about building an effective community out in the real world.
oh,
And
wow,
then
okay,
and then
yeah,
just that like irony kind of sets in and it's part of the amusement of the experience.
mhm,
But I struggle with that same feeling of like that's really cool that I'm, you know, meeting all my neighbors and giving them gifts in a game, but why not do that in real life?
sure, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I know that feeling.
real life is the only tangible stuff, but, like, the moments you have are good playing games, right? So, like, you can have
Exactly.
good moments hanging out, but if you're doing it alone, where does it go, right? So, that's kinda that was a side tangent here, but a minute ago, you asked me, like, how I got
Yeah.
this new train of thought for the
Yeah.
seventh separate episode where I have some new theory or what plan or whatever. I I I had a lot of orders coming in into December here, and that's part of what made me think this would be possible to jump
Yeah.
soon.
I
So I
see.
stopped getting as many orders, because like nothing is ever constant,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine because I'm too busy anyway. And I was trying to offload orders. Like I was offering them to people, like we talked about last week. Um, so it's not just the orders though. It's like I this weekend I went on a road trip to South Dakota, to Yankton, South Dakota, to a buddy's place, and so he just bought a house in like September, and I went down to just help him do some remodeling. So he's done new floors, put in new cabinets. So I was helping him trim out his cabinets, and then I trimmed his upper level of his house, like just the baseboard trim.
Mm-hmm.
So did that, and then it was also his birthday on like during the week, and he spent that alone. So then we went out and raged pretty hard for a little bit, and just had some fun. And then so I had like 5 hours drive there, spent 40 hours there, and then I had 5 hours drive back. So it was like a fairly quick and dirty weekend. But the whole way there, I was like thinking about the business, and I was listening to this new book on the business, and I was like
Mm-hmm.
going through, and it was all about like changing your direction in life, specifically your career path, like just like how to plan that and strategize on that, and like ways to make yourself do it. And in listening to that, I was like getting all excited, but then also upset with myself that I wasn't already doing this full time. And it's like I spent 4 years getting a degree and a ton of money getting a degree on something that I actually don't mind. Like I enjoy it. But then
Mm-hmm.
I found the thing I'm actually passionate about. But then I just want to abandon ship. And it's like I've been pushing it so hard that I'm trying to force it into reality to
Mm-hmm.
where I'm taking any job, basically. I'm saying no to some stuff, which is good. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a lot of jobs that I don't want to eventually have as my full thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to get out of a hole that I put myself in by trying to invest in all these, like mostly the shop renovation stuff, by building it out and everything to make it Instagram ready. And so that was great because my Instagram was doing really well because like I have the shop projects and I've got all these reels of me renovating the shop. And but now the Instagram's flat. So was that worth it? And how many sales have I gotten from that? Right. So I'm like, I was just basically like taking a step back. It's like, what am I pushing?
Mm-hmm.
Am I pushing creating beautiful custom furniture for people that I care about, that have a story, that want some special piece? Or am I just trying to push this business so I can get out of a job that was annoying for a little while? Like it just felt like I'm trying to make my trapdoor to jump through and then
Sure.
go be successful somewhere else. So it's like I still know this is my passion. I'm not giving up on that part. But like calm down a minute and
Mm.
let's do it right. Because if this is gonna ever be big, or if this is ever gonna be a full career for me, like I'm just trying to like take a step back, breathe through it, make the design decisions, and then like I basically realized the freedom that I have, kind of like I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Like if a piece doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, and as long as
Yeah.
my investment into it doesn't hurt me financially, that's fine
Mhm.
because I don't need to make money in this business yet, technically. So I can start to pay myself a little bit and just keep it chill and like build that portfolio of skill. So in this next year, I'm just gonna focus on making more diverse pieces, like new stuff. I'm still gonna push hard on the customization idea that I've kind of been toying with.
Yeah.
Just that's just a fun idea that I like.
Right.
Because it's just the idea of having something so changeable that's so it can morph into any different shape, basically,
Mhm.
and style. Just having something that can take a lot of styles is kind of cool. So I'm gonna focus on that, and then the last thing is just like skill stuff that I don't have yet that I know I could figure out, right? Like, so like this year I figured like didn't figure out, but I tried steam bending for the first time.
Mhm.
Well, there's more stuff out there that I have never tried that I could probably take a swing at when my job doesn't depend or my life doesn't depend on it,
Mm.
so it's like let's go learn some more woodworking, like real stuff, and put it in some pieces and try some new styles and build the brand that way. So I'll still do a rebrand, not as fast, It'll be a
Mm-hmm.
lot slower, but I'm trying to just mellow out and make chill decisions that actually push the business toward the ultimate goal. Now that I've kind of had like a panic moment of figure out what the goal even is. So that was the last
Yeah.
like 2 months.
Yeah.
And um not is not at all bad on you, but I think these conversations is part of the reason I went that way.
Yeah. I
Because
probably, yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna bring that up next and
yeah,
just ask if that was the case. Cause
yes.
like, I mean, I mean, there's days where I view myself as a basket case and I put myself into this
No, 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 no,
position,
no.
right? But like, no, like as a, not even in a judgmental way, just as
Yeah.
like a, oh yeah, like psychologically, I'm a little bit of a mess sometimes. And so like,
Okay.
so it's been, and like, I can see why, because I didn't take as much time. I
Mm,
also like so I did want to speak to your motion. You kind of set it up as like an either or. Like you said, either I'm running this business because I'm gonna, figure out essentially what your words were essentially were like I'm gonna do it right and I'm gonna make sure I've got the things in place and know that I can do a lot of it before I say like let's jump in and like do it. And that's like you should do that because that's
sure.
giving yourself the best chance. But you said it's either that or it's because I'm trying to leave this job right now.
Hmm.
I think that's like a fallacy. At least it was for
Yeah.
me.
No,
It's
yeah,
not an
you're
either
right.
or, right? You can have
Yep.
both those feelings. So I just
Yep.
wanted to like clarify and ask that.
Yeah.
Like it can be both. And I'd be careful at least with like for me, I have to think about this because it affects me. I don't know if this affects you, but I have to think about when I tell myself the story in my head, this is an either or, and I don't allow myself space to say, no, both of these are reasons, I'm kind of like dismissing a part of myself that like bleeds into my future anxiety.
Okay.
Do you know? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm denying a part of myself and not giving it the
Like, that's
space to
not
be
how I
like,
really think, and then you realize later, you're like, "No, actually." Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And so for that reason, like I also think that taking your time and like getting the kinks worked out a little bit more is like an even better decision because
Mhm.
it's like it's showing that you're basically instead of delayed gratification, it's like let's like look at the other half and say like a delayed amount of pain,
Mhm.
right? Like of like growing pain of like having to step up to what the commitment I made and I didn't know all of the things that would go into it yet.
Yeah.
So that's hard, that's heavy, and like I'm a little bit ashamed to admit that I went in, balls to the walls
No,
and
but
didn't
that's like
look everywhere. But it's
that's
also
what we
like
all wanna
fun.
do, though. So you
Yeah,
did it, right?
it's fun, but my gosh, it comes at a real cost. And like,
Sure.
um, I think I'm well suited for that cost.
Okay.
But I don't know if everybody is like
Yeah.
there's days where I'm just like I gotta shake something and just because there's so much real pressure that matters
Right.
and yeah, it's just gonna feel that way until
Yeah.
it feels like it's under control. And I think I could have done a lot more to make it feel more in control when I took the leap.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that so, like, nothing of the way you think is actually making me think in that way, right? Like
Mhm.
yes, by talking to you more, I start to think more like you a little bit and I get more insights and stuff, but that's not the bad thing at all. The part that made me go on this where I felt so terrible at work for a little while is
Yeah.
because I by talking about this so much, I realized how much I want to do this.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's like it just came to terms with like, okay, no, this is actually what I wanna do, and it's like,
Mhm.
why am I sitting here every day when I could be making more money in the shop? Not even making more money, but, like, doing my thing in the shop,
Yeah.
and but then it all turns into, okay, money, 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 right? Because that's my main worry, and then it's like, just I'm getting paid, right? So
Mhm.
and I if I have the in the shop, we talked about how I have to keep telling myself slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? On the
Mhm.
projects, like just
Mhm.
so it's like, why don't I take that and just zoom out and apply it to the whole damn thing and
Mm.
realize that like I made a list, right? It's like what I can do at work, what I can do in the shop, and what I can do either,
Mm.
right? And if anybody works with me and is listening, please stop listening. I can respond to an email every once in a while at work for the business, right? I've got my Gmail right there. Like it's there. I can think about concepts. I can like draw some sketches. I can there's like certain things I can do at work in
Mm-hmm.
at my engineering job that I can do either or, right? So I can be kind of not
Mm-hmm.
working on the business, but I can be planning the business structure. I can be thinking about this. I can talk to people. I can like there's stuff I can still do there. Like there's still some value to going there and being in
Mm-hmm.
person. Oh, and it covers my wages, right? So that's like a huge part of it. Get paid was on that list. That's what I can do at work versus
Mm-hmm.
in the shop right now. In the shop, that's I gotta build, I gotta deliver pieces, I gotta take pictures of pieces, I gotta at work, if I'm in between meetings, maybe I can hit post on that post I have drafted or scheduled, right? So like I can do
Mm-hmm.
certain things from work. So I'm just trying to look at it as like, let's actually optimize this and try instead of trying to have two separate systems that I'm trying to
Yeah.
do. And then I just resent the fact that I even have to go into work because all I want to do is this other thing. It's like, well, let's use it more and see where we can get with that. So it's just
Yeah.
more of it's just a reframe
Mm-hmm.
and realizing like I don't have to hate my job anymore. Like it felt like I should hate my job a little bit because it's
Yeah.
holding me
Like
back. But it's not.
liking woodworking more than your current job doesn't mean that you hate your current
Right.
job.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I don't. And I like the
I'm with
people
you.
and yeah. So it was just kind of like the drive helped. And then when I was in South Dakota with my buddy, he's an engineer for a company who does manufacturing. They manufacture similar equipment to what my company does, but he works on the factory floor, and I'm a test engineer in a lab. So
Yeah.
different stuff. But I'm trying to explain it like the funk I'm in to him. Like this is what I'm thinking about, and this is what I'm and like he has no grasp on it because he grew up in South Dakota in a smaller town where furniture doesn't matter and you have a table and you like it's just a different way of life there. And so
Mm-hmm.
like I was like looking around and I'm like nobody cares about this stuff too. So it's like I was building it up so much in my head where this is the biggest deal, but it's also just what I like and some people don't like that kind of thing too. And so I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. I couldn't explain to him why I had to do this
Sure.
versus my job. So then I was trying to explain to myself, why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, I
Yep.
don't. I still want to, but I could sit at this engineering job the rest of my life because I like it enough, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that then it was like, okay, I kind of just came to peace with it. The fact that he was almost rejecting what I was saying, like he wasn't barely listening,
Sure.
and because nobody wants to hear somebody complain about their job for a long, long time, right? Like extended periods of time.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I was trying to keep it chill. And then it was like just driving home. I was like, hey, I can like enjoy this time when I don't have to rely on
Yeah.
that for my only wage. And let's take some risks and let's learn the things I need to learn. And then I think if I just focus on that part, the sales will kind of come if I focus on the quality and the skill. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden it'll actually make sense if I can eliminate some roadblocks along the way. And then I'll
Yep.
go, oh, hey, now I'm actually close and I'm calm. And that'd be the
Yeah.
best time to make the real decision.
Yeah. And I also want to add one more thing that like is a super big advantage of staying where you are for a little bit longer too. And like like in business, it's about connections, right? And things like that. And it's a good way to look at it. But I think instead of connection, like as a society, we need to start saying like relationship more and like figure out what relationships, not connections, are worth deepening, right? And like figuring
Yeah.
out how can like you and I, we're doing that, right? And so
Yeah.
that's having a huge impact on my life, and it sounds
Me
like
too.
yours too. And so that like that's what this is all about. Like, and I
Hmm.
think just when it comes to the business too, like figure out you have time right now to just like
Hmm.
figure out which things do I want to invest in, and like that's part of really for me, what's bringing a lot of anxiety on a regular basis is like I don't have all the different places I can lean on when
Oh, yeah.
when I feel tapped out, right? Because I jumped in too soon. And so like that's a I'm figuring it out, and it's been like the best learning of my life. But another reason in which I wish I would have just waited a little bit longer. So like relationships at your job, people like you're gonna make connections with people who might want to buy something from you in the future and
Right.
like know what you're
Right.
doing and like so like talk about that. Like tell instead of talking like with your work people about what exactly it is you're doing in the business, at the very least you can share back with them like what you're learning like about life because
Mhm.
you're pursuing this other thing that they're maybe not. And so like they're going to benefit from that too, right?
Sure.
In
Sure.
addition to you maybe benefiting from their your furniture in the future. But yeah, relationships, big
Yeah.
deal.
So, do you think you jumped too early then? Because I
Mm,
haven't ever heard you say that, and then you just said that a
yeah,
second.
like it's like I've got two different feelings that are happening at the same time. Like I am like I'm falsely comparing our situations, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
I tried to make it apples and apples, and like if it were apples and apples, I'd say yeah, I would wait longer if I were in your position. I
Mhm.
definitely would, and like especially, and I say it selfishly, knowing myself, like I can walk you through a lot of these things, or at least share my perspective, like in ways that nobody was there for me because I wasn't looking.
Sure.
But I was also so the reason our situation is apples to oranges is just because like I I was in a job that I thought was easy, and like I was doing CAD, and I enjoyed the people. There was the pain of like always thinking about the other thing too, but there's like this other like ache part of me, and I think this is part of the stuff I'm learning about myself and how I am the way that I
Mhm.
am through how
Mhm.
I was brought up and nature versus nurture, all that, where like I was a depressed and anxious person, and so like it it got really black and white around certain things in my life, and so I truly didn't believe that I could have stayed longer and kept my sanity in my job. Like I truly believed
Right.
that.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
so
was gonna. I had remembered you've said that before, and I was gonna say, hey, like I'm comfortable at my
yeah,
job. Like I,
right.
if all my tools got stolen tomorrow, I'll just keep going to my own job. Like it's okay.
Yep.
Like I still have this passion that I'm working on, but it's not like I have to. And for a little bit there, I felt like I had to because I was just so focused on how much I wanted it because I was
Yeah.
realizing how much I wanted it. And it's like it's
Right.
okay to want it so bad. I'm just gonna want it in this other way where I'm gonna try to optimize the situation I'm currently in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I'm just gonna focus for the next year. Hopefully, is just let's just optimize what I got going on right now because it's really
Yep.
not bad. I just gotta clean up the random jobs and clean up the attitude. Don't be mad about doing the wood shop on jobs that I barely wanted, and don't be mad
Mm-hmm.
about going to work for the job that's making it so I can afford the things that I'm doing anyway, right? So like I'm just it's just gratitude for me and because I'm already comfortable. But for you, it was a legitimate sticking point where it's like this is not okay, right?
Yeah.
So based on the story you've told in the past. So
Yeah. Just
yeah,
didn't
it's different.
feel. Yeah. It's different, but I think I'm able, and maybe it disqualifies me from even like saying I can think of a way to make our situations apples to apples, and so I can't really truthfully say I know exactly how you feel in your situation, but I do think that I can pretty well imagine like being at a job that I liked, and like knowing for a good reason like let's take some more time, especially if it's intentional, and that being worth the wait, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of it too. That's a great thing you just said that it's intentional because I think this whole time it felt like I had to be there
Hmm.
and there was no other option and I can't go do anything else. and
Mm-hmm.
I'm barely good enough at this, you know, because like it's hard sometimes. It's engineering
Yeah.
stuff can get annoying, but like now that it feels like there's another option, and I'm choosing to stay to try to like nail everything down and like come up with some systems and like get my
Yep.
ducks in a row before we head down the stream kind of thing. That the intentional part you mentioned, that's probably where the most of the piece is coming from, where it's like I'm just like, hey, let's think about it a little differently for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
um next week when I have a totally different breakthrough and I'm panicking, you can quote me on today.
I
So
won't. We'll just work through that. We'll
there we
talk about
go.
that.
Yeah.
No judgment about yesterday.
Yeah. There we go. No, I'm glad I went. I was on all those different trips though, because like for a little bit there, it was literally like I couldn't think of anything else, and it was like the
Mm.
whole last like 2 years. I mean, you've been the same way probably, where all you can think about is
Yeah.
this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that's good. But it was like I just need a break, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. In practice, I'm going to keep thinking of more things I wish I thought of.
Hmm.
Here's another one. Um, I've learned that the number of things that I'm like focusing on in my life like matters, like, and it needs to be a lot. Like it needs to be. I generally feel like I'm spreading myself thin, but that's part of what motivates me and like keeps me going.
I agree.
But when I left my career, my engineering career, and I had a woodworking hobby, I didn't create a new hobby to
Mm.
replace my hobby that became a career, and that messed with me too.
So now your hobby is your life and your livelihood and your fun and your pain and your
And I
it's
put way
everything.
too much weight on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
the weight
it's
of the world.
heavy.
Yeah. And you were only I remember talking about hours, right? Because I was thinking about it all the time and I was trying to sneak into the shop at any moment, any free
Yeah.
moment. So that felt like a jail almost, but it was within my own mind because I wanted it that bad. So it's like I'm doing it to myself. It's such a weird dynamic. There's probably some really deep psychological stuff on that. But then what you're saying now too, even though you I remember you said you had limited, like you had succinct hours. Succinct?
Hmm.
Succinct? That's a word. Succinct. Okay.
Succinct. Yeah.
Uh, hours, whatever, that you were in the shop every week, like 40, 50 hours,
Hmm.
and that was it, and that's all you had. But then the whole time, probably once you got off, because that was your whole life, now you're thinking about everything you did right and wrong and what you got to do tomorrow and what you need to adjust. And in a month from now, I got to do,
Right.
so,
Instead of like, hey, let's go do this fun thing right now. That's my new hobby, and like just turn off
right.
for a bit. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So I know you're into reading. Are there any other hobbies that you've picked up?
Um, so I have a little bit of guilt with video games, but I do really like them. Like
Now,
exactly
don't
like
let
what
what
you
I
said.
said earlier deter
No,
you from
no.
liking video games. It's just a personal.
I've been I really enjoy playing video games now with that lens, like actually with that lens, and
Cool.
just like saying, if I find joy in this game, what about that can I apply to my real life outside of the video game? And like
Cool.
I just approach like everything that I do now as like a self study for a while. Like I
Mhm.
imagine I'll grow out of this phase, but right now, like that's my hobby, is just like monitoring myself in as many ways
Mhm.
and like treating myself as a science subject to figure out what it is that
Yep.
I can make this thing work the best and the happiest. And that's a new thing for me. So that's taken a lot of good time now, but it took a lot of like, yeah, all that, like what you said, focusing on the pain and the all
Mhm.
that stuff, like made me get to a point where it's like, okay, we got to make some big changes in real life. So yeah, other hobbies. I'm just figuring it out. I've got an Oculus too. Have you ever done that?
Oh,
VR
I've heard
games?
of it. Yeah, I've tried it once, a long, long time ago in somebody's dorm, and I whacked a bed, but
Beat
that's all I
Saber.
remember.
Beat
Yeah,
Saber is super
into
fun.
it.
Yeah, I'm into that. And then
Cool.
I read fantasy. I try to read more fantasy than I read self help. Just to
All I read is
yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
balance that out a little bit.
yeah. I
Actually,
mean, I do some. I do some science books too. Like I like
Yeah.
astrophysics and space stuff, so I do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I think an old one that I got parented out of that I'm going to try to pick up again is pranks.
Oh no.
And I mean that sincerely, but they'll be wholesome to
There you
the
go.
to the best of my ability.
Just some
But
fun little saran
yeah,
wrap on the toilet or something.
nothing that makes too much of a mess. I don't
There
like
you go.
messes, but yeah, you get the idea.
That's kind of fun. Then you get to plan something out and
Yeah,
have the anticipation part, and then you get the reward or
yeah,
not.
or not. Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of that's the risk part, and I got to take more risks in life.
yeah. Do you have any like what is your least favorite thing to do in the day? That's like a chore.
Hmm.
Are you the laundry guy? I'm the laundry guy. Are you the like what's your thing that you gotta like what's that non-work thing?
Like that I don't like or that I do like.
Don't like what's the hitch in the day of stuff that you maybe put off?
I put off vacuuming.
Vacuuming.
I'm the person who vacuums, and we've got two pets, so
Mm.
it's a lot of hair, and so that adds up fast, and then it's like more than I want to be doing in a week.
Yep. You're like, why do we
So
have these pets? Oh no, I love them. Dang it. Yeah.
um,
I always just think about those little like it's not even a big deal. Any of these things, like
hmm
vacuuming or doing laundry, like it really doesn't even take that long, but it's such a big deal in your own head.
hmm
Or like my wife is the vacuumer. She vacuums every single day. She is killer. She vacuums the shit out of this place, and I love it. But she doesn't like doing laundry, right? So I'm okay, cool. I'm laundry guy then, and I don't love doing laundry either, but it's not as big, like it's not a big deal to me. Like, and I just
Yep.
think of the little things that are like big, like little things that are big sticking points for me, and then I try to work around them. Uh,
That's great. Yeah, we're in the process of like trading chores and figuring
oh,
out what works
cool.
better, and so that's
Yeah.
been an ongoing thing. But
Do you get rid
um,
of any really crappy chores that you dump them off on her?
well, I think I'm gonna get rid of the vacuuming. We'll see,
Oh,
but
don't say it too loud. Okay, cool.
there's other things I'm more than willing to pick up. So, uh, yeah, that's a good
Cool.
one. Yeah, it's nice that you talk about like it is such a small thing, and they're all small
So
things,
small.
but
Mhm.
all of the small things add up over
Yeah.
time very quickly.
I really like to so I do this the reason I brought it up is I do it in the shop too. So there's like I'm bad at cleaning the shop and I'm bad at putting tools back or whatever. But
Sure,
then as
yeah,
soon
me
as you
too.
like get in the mode of doing it, it only takes like 15, 30 minutes. Like it's so fast. And then you
Yeah,
move faster and everything. It's like the sharpening the axe kind of thing. Like it's
yeah.
just so nice. So then like I try to make like lists in my head all the time of like everything that I really have been not wanting to do and putting off. And I go do
Mhm,
them not as
mhm,
fast as I can because you want to do them right, but like quickly.
mhm.
And then you feel so good after just like
Yeah.
cleaning the shop or
Well,
making certain cuts or whatever, like milling. Just do a
now I'm
ton of
gonna
milling and you're like, look at all this potential I have.
right.
Yep.
When you do a big batch, I was gonna say, you made me think of the chatter book. So it was like one of the things that they brought up a lot was how much like your environment affects you, and like
Yeah.
by going out and physically putting more order to your physical world, it takes down your chatter, so it adds order to your mental world. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's I mean that's part of. So you're not only physically doing that, but you're also seeing the nicer environment, and that makes you
Mhm.
want to do more. So yeah, it's
Well, and
good.
I feel like since it's its own little mountain in your head,
Hmm.
you doing it is almost just like conquering that task, and then you
Yeah,
get a small win, and then you kind of ride a high of small wins throughout a day. It's like the making your bed thing in the morning. That basic idea, like
yeah.
it's that same thing, and you can do it in the shop too. So pretty interesting. So I'm glad
I
I'm glad
just
you got value out of that book.
it was yeah.
It's always hard recommending books to people because I don't know how people think. I'm like, this is cool. I don't know. Like, try
Yeah.
it.
Well, and too, like it's also sometimes depending on what the content is, I can imagine that sometimes it's like, oh, maybe people are gonna like think something about me if they read the title of that book and
Mm,
don't think that it's, oh, he needs to read that. Like There's just
Sure.
some of that inner critic going on all the time for me personally. But I
Sure.
wonder if that's part of, like, it almost feels vulnerable because I do remember a striking thing about you recommending what it was, and you didn't go into super depth about what it's about. You just gave me like the
Yeah.
highlights that would be on the
Well, and
back
I was
of the book.
barely into it at that point. But
Okay,
it's pretty similar to what we talk about a lot too. In
yeah,
certain ways, that book is like almost, like you
that's
could
right on the
directly
money.
yeah, you could like just play it right after this and it would feel almost seamless sometimes. So
Yeah.
like that one was pretty easy. And the handmade one that we were talking about today is literally woodworking and creative inspiration there. So like that's just simple too. But
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely like music too. If people see the music you're listening to, you're like, no, don't get the wrong idea. Like I like it because of this. Or like there's like this is how I listen
Just
to it.
tell them why you like it
Why I don't like
when
to
you give
like
the recommendation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that sometimes I don't even know why I like it.
You made such a good face when you said that.
What, when I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm never like, "Read this because this and this." It's like, I get shy with recommendations, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that, like, I always find myself giving, like, wanting to give recommendations because I'm maybe making a negative judgment about somebody, and that's not
Mm,
good. So then you got to keep that to yourself, which I do. But like, if you hate to give somebody a recommendation about a lack of something in their life, if they're not going to receive that in a good way, right?
oh,
And
for
like,
sure, and nobody wants
and it's
unwanted advice too, so you gotta be careful on
yep.
that one.
And so, but it's also like, if I also don't gauge the level of our relationship well enough, and then I think that we're on like good enough terms that
Mhm.
like this is just like good advice and it's because I love you, and it's not, and then they receive it a different way, like
You're
that's
like,
a
"Hey, what?
thing.
No, yeah."
I'm hypersensitive to that.
No, I get that, that makes sense. Makes a
Yep.
lot of sense. Yeah. Man, all over today. I'm kinda comfy. I've been on
Good.
edge. Uh
You look relaxed compared to the last couple.
We're just chilling now,
Yeah,
I'm just itching to make some furniture at this point. I gotta make a dining table for free because of this giveaway,
that's
so
right.
that's part
Yeah.
of the I just gotta not worry about the money at this point because 'cause I'm getting paid, so let's focus on the design and the
What have you come up with so
content.
far? If you don't mind me asking, have you
Yeah,
thought about
so
boards?
we've talked about I literally looked up the term for these tables, and now I can't think of the name now that I'm supposed to talk about
Trestle.
it. Not trestle, no.
No. Okay.
But they have the seam, like like block style or like board style. Um, but you know what I'm trying to say with the seam in the
Yeah,
middle.
with
We've talked about it for
the gap in
anybody.
the middle. Yep.
Yeah, if anybody hadn't heard a previous episode, there are tables that are becoming more popular. It's almost like an Asian style mixed with like I'm seeing some Scandinavian style do that too.
Mhm.
I really don't know a lot about. I wish I could just call out, oh, Danish furniture, and but I don't
Homework
know,
for next week.
right? Got to learn more. But anyway, this I got to turn 3 slabs into a table. I don't really want to join them all into one big chunk because it's just white ash, and I don't know. They're just gonna look like a big hunk,
Mhm.
and I don't want to go take it somewhere to get flattened, especially because it's for a giveaway. So I'm gonna do three three boards, 13-inch wide. So it'll turn into 2 seams in the
Okay.
3 total boards on top. And then it's gonna be that floating style where it's suspended off the legs by stretchers that go the other direction,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right? So like
Yep.
a half-inch gap or so, just the floating look. And
Mhm.
then I've been playing with leg shapes, and there's a new idea in my mind today of how to get a straight leg, vertically straight from the horizontal with a taper
Okay.
cut. So from the opposite side, from the long side, you'd see them cut in, right? Not be straight. So have those tapered, but then have a straight side, and then I'm really gonna struggle because I just drew it today. Um, I want there to be a straight body to it,
Mm-hmm.
but then have a taper to the inside face that is none, like zero taper on the bottom of the leg until it grows to the top to be the same width as the straight section width. If that makes any sense.
Yep, I can kind of picture it, but I can see unless you're like a really spatial person, you're not gonna be able to
Yes.
picture what you're saying.
Yes. So the main taper structure, the flat part, let me see if I can get my fingers, is going to be the same width. And
Yeah,
then from the one part, it'll grow up, and then this will be a taper in, not to
yeah.
nothing, but to a straight section. So it's almost just like a
It's like
it's a chamfer that dies off toward the bottom of the leg.
in
It's a
CAD.
heavy chamfer.
In
That dies
CAD,
off.
it would be like a triangle to a triangle where you do a loft, but then they're reversed, right? And
Kind
it just
of, but the triangle on top has a rectangle connected to it.
I see. Okay, yep. I'm
Right.
picturing what you're
So then
saying.
there's more straight section, and then the back will be half chamfered. And I wish I could show you the legs on this table because it's similar to this table, but it's different. So it's just got like a light 22.5-degree chamfer, not on the front face, but on the side face. So then it almost feels rounded to a straight, but it's not rounded. It's got some sharp
Yeah.
light lines.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be a half lap or just like a mortise and tenon, and then I'll float off a couple long stretchers, and then I'll have
Mhm.
horizontal stretchers. And I think that long stretcher is going to have the point at the center be the peak and have a slight taper, not this drastic, but if there's this front stretcher along the length, not have it be straight on the bottom, have it be a slight to where the center has a little point. So then my
Okay.
angle will start dropping down, and then you hit the leg, and then it drops further, and then it drops further. So it's
Mhm.
almost like
That'll be cool.
an arch through angles in a way, like straight lines that form an arch if you keep
Yeah,
piling them.
that should look really cool. I like that a lot.
It could change tomorrow, but
Yeah.
that's the rough idea. And I was trying to figure out how to even make the cuts, because in reality you got to have your square stock, and then I got to take 2 heavy chamfers out, probably on the table saw at like a 20-degree-ish, and then joint the opposite sides to remove part of that chamfer to get the flat section to pop.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense. It
You
makes sense in my head. So
It does. You could
yeah.
probably even make the taper with a jointer too, I would think.
Yes, but I'm worried about matching the angle on the opposite side.
Yeah.
So I'm
Never
gonna go
mind.
square, well, not square, but rectangle, cut the
Yeah.
two tapers really long, and
Yeah.
then flatten each face to bring back the flat, and have a partial taper, partial flat on each side. And then I'll
That's
come
a
back and chamfer the top edge, and then clear the mortise. So
that's a good project. You're gonna
did
learn a
that all
lot.
make some sense there?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
gonna be a really cool one.
If anybody's listening and that was just me talking out of my ass, I apologize, but I was trying. It's hard to. I wish I could draw sometimes, but
Can you not draw
on the screen, I don't know. It would probably look like trash anyway.
it? Next time I'll have post-it notes and I'll try to draw the shapes that you described.
I'll hold up a whiteboard. Okay, slide number 2.
I'll get one too.
There we go. Yeah. So I do have a notepad right next to me, and I could have drawn it, but it's hard to like talk and draw at the same time and like not have dead air or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the rough idea with the legs. I had a more of a thought, this is like a not live edge, but it's slab wood that came from local trees. So I was like on the tree theme, and I was going to make these legs look almost like, not look like limbs of trees, but have a call to like a tree limb. And I just couldn't make it look right.
Yeah.
So we threw that out real fast, but yeah,
Yeah. Fail fast. That's the got to iterate.
do it every day. So yeah, that's the rough plan. I'm hoping to start on it soon, but these tap handles are going to kind of delay me a little bit, but
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got what's after the built-in again? In
Tap handles, and then I got to do a little synth box for a buddy.
the
It's
synth
just like
box.
it's
That's
a
what I was thinking
guitar
of.
case kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just a big plywood box.
Mhm.
Not even big, just a box that I paint black. More painting. Um, and then yeah, it's just that dining table, and then I've got a coffee table that I'm locking in for our place here.
Yeah. All right,
So
I've got a question for you. You
do it.
brought up paint, and I had um, a heretic thought of adding paint to walnut, and I wanted to get your opinion on paint
Do
on
it.
things. Like,
Do
what
it.
if it's just like a part
Strips.
of a project?
I like the look of that. Some people aren't
Yeah.
into it. There's a Instagram account where they take old, maybe you've seen it. They take old furniture, and they do the refurb stuff, like where they
Mhm.
scrape all the finish off and everything, and then they refinish it. But then they paint these sick designs on them,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Art Deco type stuff,
Hmm.
with some nice color. Now that's a lot. It's pretty detailed. You would really like it, I think, based on the
Masking and painting. Yeah.
yeah, the patterns that you do. But I think that'd be a cool. I quoted. I'm cutting myself off. Those bar cabinets that I quoted for the guy who never responded to me.
Yeah.
Uh, I had painted walnut in that
Okay.
order. So I was gonna have the bottom third be painted black,
Okay.
uh, and
Mm.
have some contrast there. And I had this pattern. It's like an arch, the typical Art Deco arch that has all the lines or slots, flutes that kind of just arch with the narrow, tall arch.
Yeah.
And I was gonna have that continue and then have the bottom third of the whole piece painted black, including the
Mm.
feet. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I like that look.
Yeah. I've been I don't know what's the word, messing around with it in my head a little bit,
Yeah.
and just I think, yeah, you said trees, and that made me think. So I'll share a little more on what I'm coming up with, but it seems too radical right now to like share, and like I'm not committing to this just because I'm speaking about it.
Same with
But
my legs.
one of the things I want to do in my living room, it's been an idea that's evolving, is have like multiple pieces of furniture that like, so I have a TV console, and I really want to do something that I can cover up the TV with wood. Like, I don't know if that's going to be
Mhm.
a tambour doors from the side or what yet. I'm still messing around with that,
Mhm.
but have inlay or different shaping and cutouts of things that make my entire wall look like a tree. And so
Oh,
like
wow.
maybe have like an
Would you
actual,
paint the wall too?
I'd paint the wall like yeah, I'm thinking like forest green, and then
Okay.
have a walnut colored tree with different pieces of art and like different, like a bookshelf that makes part of it, or like,
Yeah.
so it's getting pretty radical, but um
So then it's like you can go that far, or you can like take those same ideas and tone it back too, which is
right,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to, that's basically what I'm messing with my ideas, is like on that dial, on that spectrum, just moving that around and seeing
Mhm.
where that falls where I want it to be. But yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you could, like if your wall was white, let's say, what if you painted it like the tree part is like a slightly darker gray? So it's like
Mhm.
subtle. I don't know. Like I'm just thinking like you're dragging the opacity
Opacity.
opacity. Thank you. On that dial there, to change the how sharp that is, because I
Yeah,
mean, depending on the look and the angle you're standing at, it's only going to work at a couple angles,
right.
and you're going to sit all over the room, so it might just look like a bunch of shapes, which might not
Yeah,
be bad. It's just something to think about.
right. Yeah. So I'm kind of weighing out all those decisions, like
Mhm.
how in your face is this? Like, is this going to be a subtle tree that you just like see when you're really paying attention to the wall, or is it going to be like hey, there's a tree in our living room?
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something where like the lines in the furniture, the painted lines or sections meet up somewhere or point somewhere. But yeah, it made sense that you went all the way
I'm
to the tree.
Well, I'm actually not I'm thinking the tree won't be paint. I'll have
Okay.
I'll have like that be walnut, but like be
Yeah.
parts of different pieces of furniture, and then have some of the furniture with like some of the forest green paint in strategic places.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that was radical in my mind too, just because I haven't painted walnut. It seems sacrilegious, but
There's still walnut underneath it.
yeah, that's true.
It is still walnut, no matter what
Yeah,
anybody says. Yeah, it is a little sacrilegious, I gotta say, but it's
it'll
for
look
the
good.
art, right? It's not for you're not just spray painting it or something. You're gonna do it right.
And
But
it's for me, so I don't care breaking all the rules.
if you are gonna paint wood, I would go with emerald enamel from Sherwin-Williams. The
Emerald
emerald
enamel. Okay.
trim enamel. Emerald's just their top level. It's their best one.
Okay.
And their trim enamel. I love that stuff. It is.
I'll take it.
I don't know. Other people are gonna say Bear is better or whoever. I don't even know the other paint brands, but this stuff is good. This stuff is good. So
All right.
yeah.
Sherwin-Williams it is.
Mm-hmm. And you can get an account there for your business for free too. You just set up the account and then you get like decent discount.
Is this not a sponsor or is it a sponsor?
It could be a sponsor if they want to. No, I think I think it's free. I don't think I ever pay for an account there, but yeah. I hope not.
I'm just laughing because normally whenever I talk about a product, you're like, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Well, I mean, we got so many sponsors asking us these days, so I keep forgetting who's even a sponsor, you know. It's just we get all these emails from sponsors, so what are you gonna do?
Arrest us, man. All right. Yeah. What else?
Any
What
big
else
stuff
you got
coming
this
up?
week?
Yeah.
What else is on your mind?
Just trying to chill and
Chill. That's the word of the week.
Yeah, I've said it a lot. I'm trying to also convince myself to chill too, if you can't kind of feel that, but
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yep. So I'm just painting and enjoying it. So
good.
Sunday will come and I will be paid from Saturday install and done with that project. So
awesome.
Everything's looking up.
Hopefully by Sunday, I've got electricity and we know where all the machines are going.
There you go. Anything Nate's working on in the shop?
He's got a lot going on. So he's now thinking about getting a shaper to maybe do molding and things like that.
He's always looking at the next tool.
He's always looking at the next tool and the next business opportunity. And he's got it. He knows the market really well. And so it's cool to be around that. But yeah, so he's doing some paneling. I know he's got some paneling coming up. He just doesn't know if it's going to be done with a molder or a router table yet.
Wow.
And then he's been doing treads, tables. He said he's got something new in the works. He gets a lot of one-off CNC big custom orders that right now he doesn't have as much flexibility. So that's something I might help to jump in on every once in a while.
Cool.
Yeah, he's got a lot. I don't know how he keeps it all organized and just keeps it going.
He's sitting up here with us in the panic mode probably, but we don't see it because he looks so chill all the time.
You can't see it.
When do you want to ask him if he wants to hop on this thing? We're on number 12 right now.
Yeah.
When do we get to pick his brain?
I'll ask him this week.
Yeah, just feel it out.
Yeah.
See if he has a Tuesday night that he likes. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Sweet.
I'll report back next week.
Yep. We'll have to see what the screen configuration looks like. It's gonna be so different.
3 people. Oh,
I know. That's gonna be fun. So yeah, I hope you have a chill week.
Yeah, you as well.
I'm gonna have a chill week.
Stay chill.
Super chill.
Thanks for tuning in this week. We'd be having these conversations with or without you because we get a lot of value out of this and we learn and grow together, but we're glad that you're here as well.
Yes, please let us know what you think of the podcast by leaving a review or a rating, but also comment or share with your friends in the woodworking or small business community. I'm Matt from Whiskey Woodshop.
And I'm Bryan of Boss Man's Boutique.
Thanks for
listening.